gentlemen. I really believe the win over Tulsa really marks a growth in the Rice offense and defense, the way we can depend upon one another to make plays where the defense, the entire second half, when the offense was struggling, they were able to suppress Tulsa's coming back. Even though they were scoring, they were able to halt them at the end to where we still had a chance to win the game in overtime, which shows a lot for offense to come out, even though we were down 3 points, to come out and to show that kind of poise, and for Taylor McCarr to have great poise in the pocket still, even though he did struggle in the second half, and to be able to complete that pass and win the game. That's something that really marks the transition in this football team.
How confident were you guys when you guys hit overtime? They held them to a field goal, and just talk about offense was stalling that second half, wasn't doing a whole lot, but when you guys got out there, how confident were you?
Oh, we were confident. We knew we kind of had an idea of what they were going to give us, and so it was all up to coaches to pick the right plays for us to really become successful. Because any play that we were going to call, we're going to execute it, because we knew the situation and we knew that this is the time that we're given this chance to win the game, and so we have to win the game.
Well, Coach Reagan gave you that play was put in for you. When that play was called, I mean, you had to line up a little bit, huh?
To be honest, if Coach Reagan is going to be listening to this, I didn't see the play called. I was asking Taylor, what route do I have? And Taylor told me Will, in like the heat of him about to say the cadence. I was just asking him, because I didn't see the signal called in. So I'm asking him, what route do I have? And he said, you have a Will route. I was like, cool. So we set the cadence, we snap the ball, we come around, we do our Will route. Once we pretty much passed the line of scrimmage, I found out that there's no one in front of me. I turn around, I see the ball floating in the air, and it kind of just resembled practice where we do routes on there, and we throw the ball, and we're expected to catch the ball every time.
What did your brother say when you talked to him and told him what happened?
Oh, me and my brother, we had a pretty good conversation going in that night. He was talking about how he scored 2 touchdowns in overtime, and he kind of kept me limited, kept me level down to my 1 touchdown. So I was like, okay, you got it still.
You didn't tell him yours was a walk-off, though? He didn't have a walk-off, did he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, we still discussed it. Like, he tries to keep me level-headed as much as possible, which I can't thank him enough for that. And it's just something that I continue to try and strive for, and trying to be the best that I can be with that.
Yeah, but Darik, I got to ask you something. Aren't you kind of tired of that big brother?
Of course. I mean, that's just a simple question. Yeah. You have the big brother I gotta practice with his name on the stadium the whole time. So it's like, hey, so that kind of forces me. I can't have any bad days.
I want to ask you about that pass play. There's a point, 8 yards. You got to start looking back for the ball if you're running that pattern. And obviously you saw nobody in front of you. It's like, oh, I got this.
Mm-hmm.
What were you thinking, 8, 10 yards?
Well, honestly, when I just see the ball in the air, It was just a matter of catching it.
Yep.
Once I caught it, everything kind of went numb for a second. I kind of just I thank God immediately after I caught the ball. And then as soon as I finished with that, I just see the entire team rushing, hitting me, and then I didn't really register to me until like kind of like the middle of the storm that we won the game.
Gary, back on in all seriousness, luck would have it, it was the Tulsa game, it was a touchdown. I mean, inevitably, the not comparisons, but the talk of, your brother did this, you were here, you're here now. Is that, do you embrace that, or is that tough to deal, just because you probably could have gone some other places, but you came to Rice. So is that just something you take, knowing that he set his legacy here, now maybe you kind of set yours?
Well, I can honestly say my first year here, it was something that I struggled with, because I redshirted and I wasn't able to do much, and I was on the scout team, and that was something I struggled with pretty daily. But over time, it allowed me to try and work harder to try and prove myself. And it's like, even now, I'm still just trying to work hard to not try and be a second Jared Dillard, but just try and be a first Darik Dillard. And it's just like we do embrace that he came here, he created his legacy, but now it's like for me to create my own legacy.
With the struggles because you weren't on the field,
Yes,
you really couldn't
yes.
do.
That's what's pretty much limited to. Just being on scout team, you're seeing your team, especially when you come off you're going 2-6 in the first part of the season, and you're seeing your team struggle, and you're believing that you can make a difference, and that's something you kind of struggle with. But knowing that the team did come off with a bowl victory, that's something that really leveled me out.
What do you think about Coach's idea, your family writing a book on how?
Well, my mom's writing a dissertation right now for her PhD, and my dad, he's pretty busy with his architecture stuff right now, so I don't think a book is the best thing that's on their priorities right now.
So they're lazy is what you're saying?
No, I tell you, that is the complete opposite. If you were to go to my dad's office, he has his own architecture firm. If you were to go to his office, you would see stacks of paper that I trip over every time I end up going over there. And my mother, every time I talk to her now, she's talking about how she has another paper to write or she has more studying to do. And that laziness is the last thing that's on their mind.
What do you think a book like that could be called? Title of that book about your family?
The struggle of raising 3 children, I guess. I mean, you have an older daughter who she pretty much served as like a second mom to us. She reared us almost like our parents did. And then you have my older brother who it would be almost like a boxing match early in our time at the house, where our bed, because we shared the same bedroom, and there are times where he wanted to stay on the phone and I wanted to go to sleep, and there are times when I wanted to stay up watching TV and he wanted to go to sleep. So we had fighting there, and they just found a way to keep us reared in, and I guess.
So Darik, you're going home, and I'm sure that when your brother was playing for Rice, you asked him for tickets, right?
When Jared played for Rice,
Yeah.
we didn't even have to ask for tickets. He already had those set up for us.
So now, are you having to set up for your family, and have they ask you for tickets?
Well, it's already understood. I already have my ticket saved in. All I have to do is go to the ticket taker and just press save. I have it already. My mom, my dad, brother, his wife, my aunt. It's already saved in because it's just something that we understand that if they have a chance to come support us, they're going to come.
Darik, your brother joked last time that when you scored against was it Florida Atlantic, or was it the Kansas game?
My first touchdown
He
was
said
Florida
that
Atlantic.
he told you that you had 59 more to go.
Really? You said that?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Well, I guess it's not a high enough number then. Let's just say that.
Okay.
Talk about the confidence of the offense, of what, I think someone mentioned that getting that overtime touchdown, had confidence coming in, and to bleed that over into UTSA. And I talked to Coach about the third quarter woes you guys have. What do you think you guys can do to get over that hump?
Well, if you kind of looked at our first half where we came out with high tempo, well, that's something that's the first thing we practice going into every practice. We go into like a NASCAR high tempo type of offense where we go against the defense one-on-one, and it's just something that we constantly keep practicing and pressing for us, and it showed in our first half. The second half, unfortunately, we did struggle in executing some plays, which resulted in us not being able to hold on to the ball or sustain long drives like we did in the first half. And that's just something that we're going to continue to work on, continue to keep up a high tempo offense, and also continue executing plays when we have to execute them to keep our defense off the field.
I guess what I'm getting at, it's been 5 games, no scores in the third quarter at all. Are y'all aware of the third quarter woes as a group?
Well, we are very aware of that. I believe our coach is very aware of that now, since it is such a pressing issue. And I think that's just something that we're going to we may put more focus on it during this week's practice. Being able to not just come out and be average, but to come out with the same intensity and focus as we do in the first half. It's just something that we have to identify what is that. Just identify what's missing between the first and second half.
sure you did. I'm sure you did it all growing up. Paint this scenario for me though. 1-on-1 against your brother, you each get 5 shots at the end zone. Who wins the battle?
Well, since he has a 30-inch more higher vertical than me, he gets those. But I guess I can say I'm stronger than him now. So I'll try and bulldoze to through.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.